Let's talk about the EU and proof of work disclosure. I do work for a mining company, so I've got my opinions on this topic. The EU is really struggling with energy. That's no secret at all from the Ukrainian-Russo conflict going on right now. There's been a lot of energy crunches. The price of retail electricity within Europe has been skyrocketing. There's Bloomberg charts all over Twitter if you are interested in finding out more about that. And that's going to impact certain industries, of course, those that are energy intensive. As of right now, a lot of energy intensive resources and factories within Europe have actually been shut off, or they've started turning off parts of their manufacturing in order to reduce the pull from the grid. But now we're seeing some notes from the EU talking about how Bitcoin miners might also be pushed to turn off because of the high energy rates within Europe. This is an interesting report because it really does tell you how integrated Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are into everyday life now. We might not think about it as much. You might only think about Bitcoin when you're scrolling on your phone and you see a ticker symbol for BTC pop up. But the reality is that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are more or less baked into a lot of the infrastructure we use nowadays, whether that be financial or even on the energy grid side. So that itself, I think, is just the notable part for the story. I think for Bitcoin miners, this isn't really shocking. A lot of Bitcoin miners have been leaving Europe for quite a while. If they are in Europe, they're basically in like the northern reaches of like Scandinavia, where there's really cheap energy. But there's basically a very tiny footprint of Bitcoin miners in Europe because energy is pricey over there. Even before this conflict, it was pretty pricey. Jen, I'm going to throw it over to you. If you have a question for me, I'm going to be upset. I want an observation from you. I need something.
I have so many questions. I think, well, it comes with an observation. I think as we move into the winter months, right, we use more energy. And so are we going to see miners, maybe not in Europe, you've now educated me that there aren't a lot of miners in Europe to begin with, but are we going to see another migration of miners as we move into the colder months and see them set up shop, A, somewhere that's going to be more cost efficient to operate their mining, and B, where legislation is a little bit easier on them? It just really feels like Europe is cracking down on crypto. They're moving much quicker than the rest of the world when it comes to regulation. Where are the miners going to go?
Yeah, more distressed miners. I think this is a nice parallel with the United States, China, and then Europe. We have different policies. China booted Bitcoin miners because they're authoritarian and they didn't want Bitcoin to be there. The United States has embraced Bitcoin because we have more of like a free markets, open ethos about us, in the US at least. And then in Europe, I don't think they're anti-Bitcoin in any sense. It's just that it's expensive and they don't have the energy production over there to be able to sustain Bitcoin. And so what you'll probably see is like a lot of Bitcoin miners in Europe either go to the United States, South America. There's actually a growing Bitcoin mining scene in Africa because Africa is very energy dense. And then Northern Europe, like I said, there's a lot of energy in the North Sea, Northern Scandinavia, a lot of oil and gas up there, a lot of hydro. So I think that's where they're going to go. But this is not going to be anything like we saw in 2021 where we saw like all these Bitcoin miners pack up and move east. Wendy, I'll throw it up to you.
I think a lot of people are going to end up going to El Salvador, places like that are using like 100% natural energy or however that looks like. I also don't think that this just has to do with energy or the environment. I feel like it's also a control factor by a lot of these different governing bodies, because let's face it, Bitcoin is really one of the true decentralized cryptocurrencies in the market. We know CBDCs are coming. Each government, each area is going to want to have their own CBDC. They're going to want to have control, and Bitcoin directly kind of competes with that and says, no, this is not a good thing. You don't need to use a CBDC. So I feel like it's more so of control, and it has less to do with the environment and energy. And I'm not denying climate change isn't real. I'm not denying there's not an energy problem. I just feel like there's more efficient ways to use energy. But the way governments are set up, even on a global scale, there's so much red tape now. It's going to be a lot harder to do those things. And again, I don't think we've seen Bitcoin miner capitulation yet. I do think that will still happen in this bear market. And then we'll kind of see a regroup of the Bitcoin miners. I don't know if you feel the same way or not, Will, but I definitely believe something like that is coming.
I just want to talk about the energy efficiency label. That was the part that stood out to me from this announcement. Energy efficiency label for blockchains. It's going to be like smoking, Will. It's going to be like proof of work kills. And there's going to be some picture of like climate crisis in some country that is analogous to that picture of like blackened lungs and like dying people on a pack of cigarettes. So if you want that on your Bitcoin, this is going to make that happen. I'm excited. It's going to be pretty punk rock. What do you think, Will? You cool with that?
It's not good. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't really know what's going to look like. They put like little stickers on ASIC boxes, and that's how we'll roll it out. But I do think to take it more seriously, I guess there is like dishwashers do that, and so do like washing machines. So maybe that's what's coming, right?
You're about to say, you're about to do the line about how electric dryers consume far more energy than Bitcoin mining ever would. You were right on the cusp of doing that. That would have been great.
So close, but I'm not that cliche.
So does my printer from 1998.
Nice. Does it have the little holes on the end there? One of those ones?
I think it's called dot matrix.
Dot matrix. Yes.
I don't
technology.
know. I made it up.
We're old.
All right.
You guys are dating yourselves. This is the crypto show
now. All right. Let's go play some Oregon Trail, the one with the green and the black screen from elementary school.
Too much electricity. Bad.
We love it.
Grid down.